Good morning, Force fans. Shane here. How are we? You all good? You all good? It's Sunday, 23rd of August, 2026, obviously, and it's approximately 20 to 11 in the morning here in sunny Wales. Absolutely beautiful day, beautiful morning so far. We've done well this summer, fair play. I've really enjoyed it. It's been tiring. With the 6 weeks summer holidays with a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old to entertain, and very expensive, but I've enjoyed it immensely. It's been absolutely brilliant. I just thought I'd do a video this morning, and I'm going to go through a couple of topics this morning. The first one I'm just going to mention as well. When I logged onto Instagram this morning, I saw a post from Justin at Out of the Basement, one of my favourite Black Series channels. Really, Nate and Justin, really nice guys, to be fair. I've been following them for quite a while. But Justin put out a video today regarding some news within the community of another YouTuber. I'm not gonna give this particular person a name or any airspace, but they've been arrested basically for being in possession of harmful material pertaining to children. Very horrible situation. Justin has set up a fundraiser, and I'll put the link to that in this video when I post it. But as a father of two, hearing this news today really upset me, to be fair, because it just brings to light to me that you just don't know who people are in any walk of life, do you? I mean, you guys could be watching this and you don't know anything about me, but I want to do my best today to maybe talk a little bit about me and who I am. But anyway, let's just get back to the main purpose of this first segment. Yeah, this person was arrested for being in possession of this material. My heart goes out to the victims, or victim. I don't know. I don't know how many people it is, but regardless, it's an abhorrent, sickening situation, and I hope this person is brought to justice. Like I said, I'm not going to name. You can find out who it is yourself, just by Googling and just checking things within the community. I'm not going to comment on it any further after this point. It's just sickens me, absolutely fucking sickens me. Sorry for the language, but it really does, but anyway, please go to the link and donate. It's a very good cause for a great foundation, and yeah, so let's draw a line on that. I'm not going to discuss that anymore. So let's give you a little bit of information about me, shall we? Well, I'm not going to give you everything. Obviously, my name's Shane. I'm Welsh. I'm bald, and I got 2 kids, and I love Star Wars. I've only been on YouTube, as a channel, as a creative channel sort of thing, for a couple of weeks now. I'm still learning learning how I go. I'm not quite getting there, if I'm honest. I'm up, my views are going up, but I'm not necessarily getting a lot of subscribers at the moment. But I play the long game. I'm doing what I think I should be doing anyway to get my name out there. Yeah, I'm not a naturally confident person. you know, on screen or anything like that. You know, I'm kind of introverted in a lot of ways. You know, but see, I'm losing my train of thought already. That's not good, is it? Yeah, but the reason I've done this channel is because I've got a room in my house which is just full of toys, action figures, Black Series, you know, Star Wars stuff. And whilst I love absolutely collecting, sometimes, you know, I can be in that room and I'll look at everything I've got, you know, and I don't have as much as some people, you know. I'll tell you that. Oh, I see some collectors, and their rooms are just wall-to-wall shelving of figures. I'm not there, and I doubt I'll ever be there, to be honest with you. But I got a sizable collection, you know, which I'm quite happy with. But yeah, you know, out of my kind of my family and my friends, I think I'm the only one who's a self-confessed nerd about Star Wars and figures and stuff like that, in all fairness. So the reason I'm doing this channel is just to talk about it, you know, talk about being a collector, talking about why I collect, talking about my favorite things. That's all it is, you know. It's just a very, very, very small, enjoyable hobby at the moment. I'm not aiming at this point at all about potentially being monetized or you know, having thousands and thousands of subscribers. You know, I've got a smattering so far. You know, not even 30 yet. You know, not that I'm begging anyone to subscribe. You can do that if you want, okay? But yeah, but I just enjoy doing this. I did put up part 1 of the prequel deep dive. I'm a little bit cheesed off though, because I did have a much better video, which was pretty much almost finished. I just had a couple of things I needed to do on it and just tidy it up a little bit, but I lost the footage because I'm doing this on my phone at the moment anyway. I sometimes get notifications that my storage is running out, so I've had to delete videos, and I've inadvertently deleted the very first prequel deep dive part 1 that I did. And then that took me, I'm not being funny, I'm not, you know, I'm not a creative virtuoso, you know, when it comes to doing videos or anything. I'm learning as I go. But I did prefer the very first video. The version I've put up now, a little bit of a cheat, in all fairness. I mean, yes, you know, the majority of it is new, but I did have to stitch in a couple of prior figure reviews into that video to kind of pad it out. So I do apologize. You know, it all works okay though, to be fair. But part two, which I am working on, that might take a little bit of time, is going to be completely brilliant. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a really good deep dive into predominantly Phantom Menace Black Series figures that I own at the moment, a smattering of Attack of the Clones, and the third part is going to focus on the figures I have for Revenge of the Sith, which isn't an awful lot, but you know, it'll be a nice capper to the trilogy of the videos. So I'm hoping that you will like that one. For me as well, when I'm running this channel, I am trying to be a little bit more. I'm learning as I go, don't get me wrong, learning as I go, but I am trying to do things a little bit different to what others might do. I mean, I don't see many YouTube channels where the person just sits in a garden with a coffee and talks Black Series, you know. So these kind of things will possibly continue, in all fairness. And I do enjoy doing them, even though, you know, I'm not in a live, you know, I haven't got, like, you know, comment sections go buzzing off and all that kind of thing. I'm just talking to a camera. But it's good. I like it, you know. And it doesn't take too long to do as well. You may have noticed as well, I do have a tendency to put up a couple of shorts with a bit of you know, with more of a comedic bent on it. That's just AI obviously generated music, and I just write the lyrics. You know, I write the lyrics and I put the visuals on there. So, you know, before I get flamed for like AI slop or anything like that, it's just something to do, you know, something, you know, just to add a little bit of comedy to, you know, to the channel. You don't have to like it, you know. It's just, you know, I enjoy doing it, you know. But yeah, there was a couple of things I wanted to discuss here this morning. Anyway, so I was looking through a couple of my childhood photos of me playing with Star Wars toys, and I'm not going to be posting pictures, you know, private pictures of my childhood and stuff like that. You know, I don't want that out there anyway, you know. Absolutely not, you know. So but I was looking through and there was a picture of me in my garden, this garden actually. This is now my house, you know, but in this garden, obviously the garden looked a lot different back then when I was about 6 or 7. Oh god, it was grass everywhere, you know. It's all kind of patioed and nice, and, you know, nice fences and everything there. But back then it was a typical British garden, you know, lots of grass, you know, muddy patches and everything, you know. Brilliant. But yeah, I was playing out there, and it got me thinking as to what was my very first Star Wars toy that I played with, or figure. Now, just to give you a little bit of context, I had an older brother. His name was Connor. He died of leukemia when I was 6 and he was 11. He died Christmas Eve 1985. So there's a whole thing there. But obviously he was a few years older than me. He was hit by the Star Wars bug before I was, you know. But I do remember the first Star Wars toys that I played with. The one I remember most prominently playing with was the Rebel Transport. Do you remember that figure, that play set? It was more like, it was kind of a very long, can't really do it, very long place. It was more like a carry case for all action figures. It was basically the Rebel Transport that escaped Hoth in Empire Strikes Back, which coincidentally is my favorite Star Wars movie of all time. I've seen it like 300 times anyway. But I always remember that I played with that particular set so often. But I didn't just play with it with Star Wars figures. I think I used it for bases with like G.I. Joe figures. I think I transferred it through a lot of toy ranges, really, for various things. I think I even used it as a kind of technodrome for the Ninja Turtles in like 1988 or something, or 1987, you know. But yeah, that toy was marvelous. I wish I still had it, you know. It was it was brilliant. You know, you could take out the tray, and it carried about like 40 odd figures, I think, at the time as well. You know, I think after this I might go and look on YouTube and take a look at that play set again. Actually, yeah. Um, but yeah, that was just one of my first. And figures wise, like Connor, he had a smattering of the Kenner figures. I think he had all of the New Hope ones. Um, yes, he did. He had all of the New Hope figures, and I think he had quite a few Empire and Jedi figures. Never had the full like 96 or 117 or anything. I did over the years get them. Um, and stuff, but I sold them on. I sold them on years and years ago. We had a house fire, well, a garage fire back in the day, as well, where we lost a few Kenner figures, unfortunately. But yeah, but in terms of my favourite figures back in the day, Lobot was one of them, believe it or not. This is why I advocate for Lobot to be released in Black Series as well. I don't know, what did I use him for, Lobot? Because he was kind of like, kind of like a beige figure, let's be honest with you. Literally beige, like beige and grey. And he kind of looked sophisticated, and I think I used him as a kind of a like like a corrupt businessman in some games as well. So I used to collect the I think the manufacturer was Galoob, and I think they did the A-Team 3.75 or 4-inch figures back in the day. They were cool. They were very, very limited. They were like a precursor to like G.I. Joe, or they came out alongside G.I. Joe. Now, G.I. Joe in the UK wasn't really a thing. When we grew up, we had a British Palitoy version called Action Force. They were just standard 5 POA figures, But the Galoob A-Team figures, they were they were like your O-ring G.I. Joes, and then they did like the bigger figures as well. But yeah, I used to always blend in the whatever toys I had. I always blended in, and had my own. You have to excuse me a minute. Sorry. Yeah, so I blended in a lot of different games and stories with a smattering of different ranges, really. I had like G.I. Joe against Thundercats, and I had Transformers against Mask, and Mask against Thundercats, and Mask against G.I. Joe. I just did whatever. It was a sandbox, back in that day. Literally a sandbox in the garden as well. But yeah, it just got me smiling about my first forays into playing with toys and stuff, and it's a lovely nostalgic feeling. It's like lightning in a bottle, really. You can't recapture it. Once you hit adulthood, you fondly remember it. But I guess that's what brings me now into collecting in my 40s. It kind of takes me back, but I wouldn't say I would go back and collect like Transformers now, or Thundercats, or Mask, or anything like that. And predominantly Star Wars, to be fair. I got a few bits of other lines as well, but yeah, it just got me thinking about nostalgia and the things I played with, and it just made me smile, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Just smiling and reminiscing, and it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful seeing brand new modern versions of toys you played with as a kid. It's great. So let me just go back to let me just go back to YouTube then. Yeah, I don't know if this channel is going to pick up traction or if it's successful or anything. I gotta be honest, I find it a little bit of a struggle sometimes, because I work full time and I work Monday to Friday. In my evenings, I got other things in my life, going on. So I do find it a little bit difficult to constantly keep on top of, putting videos out and stuff like that. And there are a few things going on in my life, specifically after the 18th of December anyway, which will afford me a little bit more time, in all fairness, but that period is going to be limited. For a while. Yeah, I'm not going to go into what's happening on the 18th of December, but it's impactful on my life, for a lot of different reasons. But I'm not worrying. I'm not worrying at all. It's all good. I'm not dying or anything like that, thankfully. I'll touch wood. But yeah, it's something that's going to be taking my focus away for a considerable amount of time anyway. But yeah, so when it comes to this particular YouTube channel, I'm hopeful that as the channel grows, as it goes on, I will be a little bit more organized, I guess, is the word I want to use. A little bit more organized in what I put out there and when I put it out there as well. I do want to get to a point where I'm reviewing figures much more often, but it's a little bit difficult at the moment, just finding time to do dedicated figure reviews constantly. I've done a couple, not many as I'd like though, to be fair. I put up a Han Solo one yesterday. I've done a Captain Gree one. I've done a couple of prequel figure reviews so far, but I've got a big collection of figures. Probably around about 400 odd. Do I take every one of those figures and do a little video on there? Do I do a short on them? So yeah, there's a lot to think about in terms of what I do. One thing I'm not too keen on doing as well is basically putting videos out about Black Series news all the time, because I know in my mind, it might be laziness, it might just be life being busy, but I can't stay plugged into the internet. You know what I mean? I can't I can't be checking Instagram every single day, looking for latest news and stuff like that. I will do videos on stuff that I find interesting. I mean, God, if Hasbro come out today and they posted up, about a series of original trilogy figures that are coming out, or prequel trilogy figures, I'd be on it like that. But if it's going to be stuff relating to like Ahsoka Season 2, Starfighter, I'll look at it first, and if I find it engaging, I'll comment on it. I'll do a little video on it. But yeah, so this channel might be a little bit of a mixed bag in terms of what is on there, what's not on there, and so forth. But yeah, it's going well so far. It's going well. Yeah, well, I was looking through my collection last night as well, and it's my cabinets are an absolute mess at the moment, in all fairness. Oh, I really got to get some time to get in there and empty them out and give them a good polish, and get a little bit of organization there as well at the moment. I've got a lot of figures from like Disney Plus shows: Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, Andor, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, and stuff like that. A lot, I think at the time I might have had FOMO or something, where I just bought it. I could afford it. I bought it. But now I was looking at my cabinets last night, especially the bottom, the middle cabinet, the second two shelves, and they are rammed with figures from shows that they were, for the most part, they were okay. I really did enjoy Obi-Wan Kenobi. I know it's got its detractors, and I know it's got its issues, but I did enjoy it, and I kind of feel it worked. It worked as a six-parter, and I still think that the fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader was really well done, and I love that. Jules End Vader Black Series figure as well. Oh god, it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic, that figure. I was so pissed off when that first come out, and it wasn't mainline. I think it was like a Hasbro Pulse exclusive or something, and then it went to the secondary market, and it was like, people were selling it for like 100 quid. So I was so happy when Hasbro, finally re-released it, and it went mainline. They should have done that in the beginning. It's an incredible figure, I might do a video on the various Vaders I got, and stuff like that. And I got a couple of Obi-Wans as well. But yeah, that was a good show. I did enjoy Skeleton Crew as well, and I'm glad Black Series got the majority of the main crew. And Brutus, that was a great figure. Book of Boba Fett, yeah, it started strong. That show. I just wish we didn't have the two Mandalorian episodes stitched into it, though. So it kind of cheapened Boba's story. If Boba had just been given 2 dedicated episodes more, to flesh him out and stuff, it was all a little bit overwhelming. I mean, the shootout with Cad Bane in there as well, I felt that was very, very underwhelming. But we had some great figures from it, didn't we? Had some really, really good figures from that show. I still laugh now that Hasbro gave us the Boba Fett with the hinged toes. I don't think they haven't even attempted that again, have they, in the Black Series? You know what I mean? It was just pointless. It was just pointless. Why do that? I mean, what a figure to try it out on, I guess. I guess this sort of makes sense, but I'm glad we don't get hinged toes in. I'm glad we don't get hinged toes in the line as a standard. So I bought the Maximum Hulk as well. I used to have an awesome Marvel collection a couple of years ago. It wasn't like in the hundreds or anything, but I had the main Avengers, I had the X-Men, I had the Hulkbuster, and I had I think it was a Sideshow Collectibles Hulk, perhaps. But it was a really fantastic Hulk figure, looked good, had great articulation. But again, I sold it all on, because I got to a point where you know, the missus was, you know, was pregnant with our first, you know, and things just had to get sold. You know, we just had to make money and stuff like that. You know, had to get extra money in as well. So yeah. Anyway, that's by the by. But that particular Hulk, that Maximum Hulk figure, I've had him for about a year now. He's got hinge toes as well. And I looked at it the other day, and it's already starting to feel a little bit loose, you know. And it's on a shelf, and it's not facing direct sunlight or anything like that, you know. It's in a quite cool area of the room, to be fair. But yeah, it did worry me that happened, so I'm just hoping that doesn't happen on that particular bobber, because as you know, Black Series figures, they can have a tendency to not be very good standing, you know, unless you use figure stands and stuff like that. And my god, figure stands are expensive. Wow. I was looking, I needed to get a few, and I'll have to do a little bit more research, but I just went on Amazon for action figure stands, for 6-inch figures, and like the majority of sellers were selling, like, you know, 6 for like 12 quid. It's like, wow, you know. But then you've got like Etsy, and you've got people 3D printing them, you know, the hex stands, and they're really expensive as well. But I guess it all depends on your display needs, doesn't it, really? But yeah, so, ooh, dead air, right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this video posted up now. I hope you've enjoyed the chat, or listening, you know. Who knows, maybe one day if the channel takes off, we can do a live, you know. But yeah, that's another thing with the channel as well, you know. I want to invest at some point in a decent camera, and potentially a decent laptop as well, because I find using YouTube Studio on a laptop is much better than doing it via a phone app. The phone app really is not that great, in all fairness. Can't do an awful lot with it. But you know, I'm going to keep plugging along. I think I'm just going to keep plugging, putting some videos out there. You know, as guys, the ones who are subscribing now, you know, if you are watching these videos, you know, please comment, okay? Let me know what you like, you know, what you don't like, what I could be doing better. You know, I want to maintain a level of a certain quality on the channel, you know, and I am working on making things a little bit tighter, a little bit better. I do appreciate that maybe in 1 or 2 videos I've spoken quite a little, you know, a little bit slower, a little bit more purposeful to try and get my point across. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm kind of free flow. I don't write a lot of scripts at all for these videos, and I will leave the odd mistake in or anything and stuff like that, you know. I'm not going to be one of these YouTubers who talks perfectly eloquently, you know what I mean, if that makes sense. I'm just a guy, just a bloody soon to be 47-year-old guy who lost his hair years ago, who looks much better with a little bit of a beard, I think, as well. But yeah, I'm just having fun doing this, guys. That's all I want to do. Just want to do fun videos, just have a laugh, you know. Yeah, just a little bit of an update as well. I do have Commander Thorn arrived yesterday. Unfortunately, the package, not that I care about the packaging was completely ripped open, and the cannon for Thorn is not there. So I'm now having to go back to Hasbro to say that this figure has arrived and the main item for the figure, the one that makes that figure look fucking cool, is not even in the package. So I'm really pissed off about that, to be honest with you. So I'm going to be requesting a replacement or a refund. I think, you know what, maybe it's karma because I've put up so many videos about, you know, the fact that we've got too many clones in the line or something. Maybe the gods are looking down on me, or the Kaminoans are looking down on me saying, God damn you for hating clones. I don't hate clones. I don't hate clones. I just think that it's a wide universe of Star Wars characters, you know, and in 2026 alone, we've had bloody 13 different clones released in you know, in a short number of months. Just cut back a little bit. Give us more aliens. That's all I'm saying, you know. So yeah, so I was a little bit pissed off about that, because I was gonna review that figure. I was gonna review him tonight and put him up this week. But yeah, I'm not going to review a figure now with the missing with the missing Gatling gun. No chance. So yeah. So I'm a little bit quality control. I don't know. See, I opened the box and it was come from Hasbro. It was a Hasbro box. It was Yodel or whatever, you know. But it was the actual packaging inside. The figure was there, but the Gatling gun wasn't. And the top of the box had been ripped open. So someone, before putting it in that package, has ripped it open, taken the Gatling gun. So, I mean, who does that? Who does that? Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'll leave that be. That is my little morning rant. I'll put this video up for you. Wow, 37 minutes. Jesus Christ, I can talk. So yeah, I'll put this up. Hit a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll catch you on the next one. May the force be with you. Bye bye.